Welcome back to the Graduated and Grown podcast. This is officially the very first episode of season 2. I can't believe that it's here. Like, my break was a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but hey, we're here. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. My name is Ariane. Graduated and Grown is all about having conversations that young adults need to have about life after college, about adulting, about just post grad life, because I think there's so many different things that we need to talk about that we don't. And I think season 2, we're getting into a lot of those topics. Like, I'm going to tell you guys about the topics a little later, but it's so good. So, for season 2, I think you guys should definitely expect even more amazing content. And this is a new element that I added. So, every week you can expect a brand new YouTube video, and these are going to be the video versions of the podcast. So, there will be videos, like you can actually see the guests and I for all the guest episodes, and then for the solo episodes, it'll just be a regular video. So you can either listen on YouTube or you can listen to wherever you listen to your podcast. And then the biggest thing about what to expect from season 2 is just expect some heat, okay? I sound so corny saying that, but I think I took it to the next level with these guests and these topics, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy them because I know I had a lot of fun. So I don't want to tell you the guests just yet, but some of the topics that we talk about is money, because I think I have so many questions about money and I brought on an expert to help with that. We're going to talk about like social media, working in social media, finding your dream job, a little bit of TikTok and the struggles of being a young adult. We're going to talk about advocating for yourself in the workplace, being happy in your singleness, and a lot more. I don't want to give you guys everything, but season 2, honestly, addresses even more topics that I'm sure a lot of you guys have had questions about. I know literally everything that we talk about, I've either struggled with or been confused about or just really enjoyed talking to other people about. So season 2 again is going to be it. So if you don't follow the Instagram, go follow it at Graduated and Grown. Go to the YouTube Graduated and Grown, and don't forget to subscribe or follow this podcast wherever you listen to the podcast. Okay, that's enough about season 2. I know you guys are already hype about it. And so for all the solo episodes, I'm going to start them off with a week in review. I personally love when podcasts that I listen to do this. So let's talk about my week. Honestly, this week has been kind of crazy so far. It's only Tuesday, but I've had a really crazy work week. So much has been going on, and it's pretty exciting, but it's also kind of overwhelming. So, I mentioned in past episodes that I'm in a rotational program. So, I have two different rotations, right? My first rotation started in September, and then I'll change to a new team this upcoming August. And it's like, oh, yay, you know what I mean? New experiences, new skills that I get to learn. But I'm also pretty sad because I really like the team that I'm on. And I feel like I've really been able to connect with a lot of them specifically since like March. So it's kind of sad that I'm leaving the team pretty soon. And my responsibilities also increased. So it's been interesting just navigating through that. But honestly, really exciting. Just really busy, and I have to be really intentional with my time. And I really like enjoy the moments when I don't have meetings and I can just like listen to a podcast or go for a walk, because I think that's a little bit more exciting. Oh, and this perfectly relates to what today's topic is, hustle culture. But another thing about my week is I have really been contemplating graduate school, and this might be new to a lot of you guys. Matter of fact, it's probably new to all my friends that listen to this too, but I'm thinking about maybe going back to school. Even though I love not having to use my brain in that capacity, I think I might. But I'm still kind of confused as to what it is that I want out of my career. So I might decide to go back to school next year. It could be in the next 2 years, or it could even be in the next 5 years. But I know I definitely don't want to wait until I'm like 40 to go back. So I've been researching different programs and figuring out, what could this degree do for my proposed career plan, and haven't gotten many answers. But it's been really cool just looking up different programs and different schools and trying to imagine myself in these new environments. So I will update you guys with that once I have like maybe not a definitive answer, but I guess a better idea of what I'm going to do. And speaking of graduate school, my boyfriend started graduate school a couple weeks ago. So it's been interesting just watching him. Watching him makes me not want to go back, just because it really affects your life. Like, I don't know how I'll be able to do a podcast, YouTube channel, and graduate school. And imagine if I did it part time and I still had to work. Yeah, something would have to give. I don't know what it would be, but something would have to give. But I'm actually visiting my boyfriend soon. So, actually, this week. So, it's going to be fun just chilling with him, exploring the city and things like that. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I really want to do some nice dinners because we really haven't gone out to eat much. So I'm gonna try and find some nice outdoor places because I'm personally still not very comfortable going in and eating inside restaurants. Like COVID is not gone, so I will not be acting like it's gone. So yeah, that's exciting. And I'm still working from home. Still, I haven't moved yet. And honestly, it's been going pretty well. I want to do an episode talking about work from home and like living at home with your family. So stay tuned for that. But work from home has honestly been going really, really well. I really like it. There's been a lot of talk about, when is the office going to reopen? And I actually think we are going to find out in the next month. Probably like the next solo episode, I may have an answer for you guys about what my life is going to look like, work wise. But right now, I don't know. I'm hoping that I'll have to go into the office maybe once or twice a week. But I would honestly probably go 3 times a week just for the social aspect. I think it is kind of lonely being at home by yourself working, especially since I'll be moving to a place. I don't really know many people there. Like, I think work will be a nice place for me to kind of like get my social itch out. So we'll see. I don't want to talk about it too much because, again, I want to do a whole episode about that, but still working from home. Literally, not much has changed in my life lately. So, same old Ariane. Okay, but enough of the pre episode antics. Let's get into the meat of this episode, which is really talking about hustle culture and why I'm tired of it and how I feel about being a member of hustle culture. Like, I feel like I'm a part time member. But anyway, let's get into this episode. I don't know about you, but I think adulting is hard. Figuring out your love life, finances, friendships, professional life, health, and how to make a freaking doctor's appointment on your own can be so overwhelming sometimes. So, welcome to Graduated and Grown, a podcast that's focused on helping you and me overcome the struggles of adulting. Let's have some fun yet honest conversations about life once you're graduated and grown. Hustle culture, hustle culture. So, some of you guys may not know what hustle culture is, so I did a little bit of research. So, according to the Finley report, hustle culture can be understood as a fast paced environment that feeds off long working hours and a restless sense of striving for some type of goal. And I feel like you can see hustle culture a lot in like motivational speakers. And I just want to, preface this and say, I have nothing against people that participate in hustle culture. Like I said earlier, I think I'm a part-time participant in this, but I think that there needs to be some changes, but we'll get into that later. So my personal definition of hustle culture, I don't think I can give you like a peer-reviewed, like full sentence, but when I think of hustle culture, I think the grind never stops. I've used that phrase. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Never said that because I love my sleep. Booked and busy. Ooh, we're going to talk about booked and busy in a little bit. And then, work, don't stop. Girl, work needs to stop. You cannot go your whole life just working. So let's talk about my relationship and my experience with hustle culture. And I think I have I don't want to say love hate, but I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a love hate relationship, and I'm a part time participant in it. And by this, I'm saying like, I've used the phrase, "Oh, I'm booked and busy," and I've been proud of saying that. I don't wanna say I've bragged because 'cause I'm not a braggy person whatsoever. I'm actually very private and don't like talking about stuff like that, but I would say, "Oh, I'm booked and busy." "Girl, I don't have any time. I'm booked." And sometimes it would feel good hearing people say, "Oh, Ariane, you're really busy." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I think the biggest example of like hustle culture for me personally is like the fact that I'm always working on something. So I work my job usually from like 9 to 5 or 9:30 to 6 sometimes. And I was looking at my PTO calendar, guys. I've literally only taken 4 days off this year. I took a Friday off to go to Florida, and it was a holiday weekend. I took a Friday and a Monday off to go to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and then I think I took another day off for something else. We're literally like past the halfway point of the year and I've only taken 4 days. And what one thing I really love about my company, and it's part of the reason why I'm working there, they have such a generous PTO plan, guys. Literally, if the pandemic was not around, I feel like my vacation life would be off the chain because they do a really, really good job with like making sure we get our PTO in. And it's not because I'm one of those people that's like, oh, I feel like I can't take PTO. Oh my goodness, my job is gonna suffer. No. My team will be perfectly fine without me. I think they would be like, yeah, Ariane takes a PTO. But I think my reasoning is I'm using the excuse, oh, I'll just use that PTO later. Girl, the year is halfway over. What? You need to use your PTO now. And I'm not gonna say I take pride in the fact that, oh, I've only taken 4 days off, but I feel like that's that like hustle culture mindset. They're like, oh, take the days off later. You know what I mean? You're fine. You work from home. You don't really need to take days off. You don't need to take vacation days off. But I do. And matter of fact, before I recorded this episode, I actually put a day and a half extra PTO time on my calendar for the holiday because I need to relax. Okay. And y'all need to relax too. And then, like, I also, when I was prepping for this episode, I was thinking, Ariane, when do you truly relax? This is something that my boyfriend mentioned to me either while we were in college or like sometime last year. But he was like, when do you ever relax? I feel like you're always doing something. And I hate to expose Justin, but I don't think he'll mind. So Justin's way of relaxing is literally him doing nothing except for watching a show on his phone. He will literally sit in the dark in his bed under the covers and watching this show. And I'm like, what are you doing? That is so like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I'm relaxing. I'm like, that's not how you relax. Like, I would always be relaxing as going shopping, doing this, doing that. But then I realized, okay, that's his version of relaxing, not mine. But what is my version of really relaxing? Because when I go shopping, when I come back, I'm drained. That's honestly not relaxing for me. I really do not take much time to relax. I think, yeah, when I get in bed at night, like I'm on TikTok and I'm like watching TV. Sometimes I'm reading, but I really need to implement more relaxing into my life. And sometimes when I know I definitely have participated in hustle culture was in college. Oh my goodness. I mean, if you knew me in college, you knew that I was very involved in like so many different clubs. I had multiple leadership positions. And I think that's great. Like, I love it. And I don't know. I want to say I didn't regret it, but I kind of do because maybe if I wasn't as involved, I would have had a bigger network. Maybe I would have had a 4.0 because I was so close, but it was like two classes that kind of messed that up for me, in all honesty. But like maybe I would have had like a closer community or something like that. I don't know. But that's like a thought that crosses my mind every once in a while. Like, Ariane, how would your life be different if you were not so involved and felt like you always had to work while you were in college? And I wish I could go back and kind of see what my life would look like, but that's impossible. And then I also think I go through these phases when I'm like really, really inspired where I'm like working through my lunch, not my job, but like my personal projects. Like when I'm on my lunch break for my paid job, I'll be like, okay, close work laptop, open personal laptop, let's work on this podcast. And even though, yes, that's awesome because it helps me get to where I want to go, when am I relaxing? I'm literally staring at a computer screen for 9 hours a day, and that's so not healthy. And I know that there's a lot of people that are participating in hustle culture right now at the workplace. I actually know quite a few people. And I honestly can't knock them for that because I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? That's the best way to move up, to get recognition, to get promoted, and things like that. And sometimes, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but I feel kind of bad because I can't relate, like, whatsoever. One time I was talking to this guy and he was bragging, or I don't want to say bragging because I feel bad saying that, but he was clearly pointing out that he works more than 40 hours a week. And I'm like, I do my 40 hours, and if something can't fit in that 40 hours, maybe I'll add in an hour or I'll just wait until Monday. And I don't know. Saying that out loud makes me feel like a slacker, but I know that I'm not a slacker because I work really, really hard. But you know what I mean? Like seeing and hearing other people do that, it makes you wonder, should I be working harder? And I understand that there are some jobs where 40 hours is not the expectation. Like for my manager, I don't think he could just work 40 hours. I feel like he would have to do 45 hours, especially when you're managing other people. You just have so much that you have to do. Anyway, so let's talk about the problems with hustle culture. Okay. One of the biggest problems that I've seen is that it seems like when you are a huge participant in hustle culture, everything outside of your hustle So everything outside of whatever it is you're hustling suffers. Whether that's your relationship with your family, relationship with your friends, your romantic relationships, your health, um, literally whatever can deteriorate, it literally will if you're not spending time with that as well. And at the end of the day, it makes me really wonder, is it really worth it? Is it worth it to lose your family, to lose your wife, to lose your kids, to lose that boyfriend you've been dating for 7 years over this? Again, to each their own, but that's something that goes through my mind when I'm participating in hustle culture or I see hustle culture. Another thing that I think is a major problem is that the burnout that comes along with it. I know you guys have seen, we'll talk about like influencers, for example. You guys have seen influencers like Alicia Marie who were like hustling. That was like their job, that was them 24/7. And then they like lose their mind, whether it's a breakdown or whether they just like physically cannot move anymore. Burnout is real. And I think hustle culture is a huge contributor to burnout. And we'll talk about breaks in a little bit. Another problem with hustle culture, in my personal opinion, this might be a little biased, but I feel like it unmotivates and tires other people. And this was kind of the problem with Clubhouse. I haven't been on Clubhouse in about 5 months, 4 or 5 months. But I think it's awesome that you are achieving your goal. I love that for you. Please keep me updated. But I think when you're constantly like saying how you don't get sleep, how the grind never stops, for somebody that's not in that same mindset, that could be really tiring. That could be really unmotivating. Like I said with the guy who was talking about how he works over 40 hours a week, it makes me question, dang, should I be putting in 60 hours a week at my job that requires 40? So that's just a sometimes thing, but that's a problem that I've noticed. And then last but certainly not least, I feel like another problem is potentially it could cause you to have regrets when you're older. Maybe you wish you would have spent more time with your kids. Maybe you wish you would have gone on more vacations. Maybe you wish you would have, I don't know, took a longer maternity leave or something. I don't know. But hustle culture, it can really distract you. And even though you're being distracted by your goals, by your passion, by the money or whatever, there's still other things on this earth that matters? But let's talk about some of the benefits of hustle culture. There are some. So one thing I really like about hustle culture, I love how the people who participate in it are always motivated and go-getters. Honestly, I find that aspect of it to be so inspiring, especially for those people that have pushed through obstacles, because we know, I don't even want to get into it, but there are so many obstacles for people, especially like people of color or women who are people of color or people from low income backgrounds. So the people that participate in hustle culture that have like these major obstacles, I love hearing about how they overcame this struggle and how they pushed through this and how they came up with the capital for this idea. Love that. That is so awesome. I love hearing about that. Another benefit is that people are chasing their dreams. And I don't know, maybe that should be the merch for Graduated and Grown, but I love it when people chase their dreams. I believe that you should. I understand and I have witnessed firsthand that there are so many obstacles for people, again, specifically people of color, people from low income backgrounds, sometimes even women. But those people that persevere, even if they can't even reach their goal or their dream, but those people that push through and they keep going and keep going, I love that. I'm currently watching The Shy with my mom, and maybe we'll do an episode about the lessons that I've learned from that. But I just love it when people chase their dreams and they do not give up. Amazing. It's so inspiring. And then another benefit is that I think honestly, when you participate in hustle culture, if you're one of those people that who are always working, who produce great quality work, I think that's a great way to move up the ranks of a company. Who doesn't want somebody that's a hard worker, that produces great work, that works well with others? I think that's awesome. That's a great benefit if that's what you do. So I talked about my experience. I talked about the problems with hustle culture and then the benefits. And I just kind of wanted to tie everything together with like my overall thoughts. But long story short, I think that hustle culture works for some people, but here's the key, but not all people. Everyone is not made for that grind life. Everyone can't come back from burnout. Everybody can't bounce back from a major setback due to hustle culture. And I think the thing I would like to see, I would love it if we could redesign hustle culture, because I like the concept because it's inspiring people to chase their dreams, but I hate it because it doesn't encourage taking breaks. I don't even know if I mentioned that earlier. But I think that's like my biggest qualm with hustle culture. It's no days off. There's no breaks. No, 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 no. You need a break, sweetie. I need a break. Take that day and a half of PTO off with me next week, okay? Breaks are important, okay? And I think just after really like thinking about this episode and everything, I don't think I want to be a member of hustle culture. Maybe I'll just be a part-time, maybe I'll be an intern of hustle culture, okay? Cuz best believe I am a hard worker. Like I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I work hard. And I get a lot of stuff done, but I value breaks so much. That's why the podcast went dark for a month because I needed a break. Season 1 was hard. It was hard editing those episodes, exporting those episodes, coming up with graphics, doing this, doing that, maintaining. It was a lot. But a break, that break, even though it wasn't as big of a break as I thought it was going to be, it was so valuable. That's why I'm like, that's why I'm so hyped about season 2 because I really put work in. But having that step back for a couple weeks was so, so imperative. And the way that I went about doing season 2 is going to allow me to take breaks during the season. You know what I mean? I think I will actually be on trips while this podcast is on air. And so like that's what I wanted season 2 to look like. I wanted it to be high quality content, but I also wanted to be like, hey, if I pre-plan all this, pre-design this, I can chill on my birthday. I don't even have to think about graduating, girl. And even though I love y'all, I still need a break. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I think I should be an intern because I value breaks, but I do work hard. And I honestly don't want to hustle my whole life. I was talking to my boyfriend about this and I was like, there's so much more to life than just trying to climb the corporate ladder. Like, best believe your girl wants to eat. I want to get like my nice things, but I want that simple life. I want that life that involves taking care of my 3 snotty-nosed kids and making sandwiches after school. And I think, just in case I do interview for this position one day, but I think I'm okay with not being the next CEO of Netflix and not being the next chief marketing officer of Microsoft. At least in this phase of my life. Like, I think I really value the simple things. I'm going to work hard to get what I want, but I don't think like the big names and the designer bags, I don't think that matters to me as much. I'm getting off topic because this is not related to hustle culture, but I was like, oh, I think I want the Louis Vuitton never full bag. It's so cute. I can use it for work, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, does that really matter at the end of the day? Who cares? Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good, nice bag, okay? I love when I see people with their designer bags. I will hype you up. I'm so happy for you. You invested in yourself. And there's actually a pretty good chance that I might decide to buy myself one of those bags before I have to like actually go into the real world and pay bills and rent and car insurance and all that stuff. But I don't know. I just think I'm realizing that I really like the simple life. And maybe it'll be that simple life with my Louis Vuitton never full bag on my right shoulder. Or maybe not. But I'm just really trying to say, I'm realizing that I'm okay with not living this super grand life that I thought I wanted. I still have life expectations. I still have a certain life that I want to live, but I think it's changing a little bit. Like, I don't know, I'm really excited one day to have kids. Like, I want that to be my full-time job, just raising these 3 beautiful human beings to be the best person that they can be, to be loving, to be happy. Okay. We're gonna have to do an episode about that, but I like the simple life. And by saying that I don't want to be the next CEO of Netflix or the CEO of Apple, I'm not trying to say that I'm lazy because I'm not. I want to give you guys a couple suggestions. Like, if you love hustle culture and you want to keep going, do you, but listen to these suggestions and please try to implement them into your life, please. So, one, I want you to think about why you're hustling right now, right? Is it for the money, more Instagram followers, to become a partner at your firm, to prove yourself to someone, or maybe to be the first one in your family to build like generational wealth? I want you to think about that. For me, I think why I'm hustling right now is for the money. I want financial freedom. I want to build generational wealth. And honestly, I feel like there's this expectation for me that I need to meet. And I don't know exactly what the expectation looks like, but I think people expect a lot from me. And I'm like, you know what? They're right. Let me work hard for this. So I think, honestly, that's why I hustle. I don't think that's necessarily the best reasons, but those are my reasons. And then the second thing I want to say is that if you are hustling, even if you're an intern like me, an intern at hustling, I really encourage you to take time to rejuvenate, please. So I mentioned that I'm taking a day and a half of PTO. I'm actually kind of going on a trip. It's not really a vacation, but it'll kind of be vacation. But also I am planning on spending my birthday. I'm planning on doing a solo staycation for my birthday just because I need some alone time and a break from life. So I don't think I may not leave my state because I really just want something simple. Like I really don't want to have to like get dressed. But I just want to do something very special for myself. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rejuvenate. I'm going to treat myself. So if y'all see that Louis Vuitton never full bag on Instagram, don't say anything. Do not swipe up on my story. But yeah, so for you, go on a week or a weekend trip, whether that's by yourself, with a loved one, with a family member, with a best friend, with your dog. Go on that trip, right? I also say journal. I just got back into journaling and I love it. It's so nice. Even though my hand cramps after 6 lines because I hold a pencil incorrectly, I still love it. Go for walks. Me and my mom, we try to go for walks every day. It's kind of tough sometimes with the weather and just our schedules, but I love going for walks. It's so nice. And if you're a foodie like me, make one of your favorite dishes. Like, if that's something that calms you down and makes you feel good and makes you happy, make one of your favorite dishes or do one of your hobbies. Paint, go for a bike ride, garden, give yourself a tattoo. I don't know, just do something that rejuvenates you and allows you to take a step back from your hustle, okay? Because remember, life is so much more than hustling. Again, still please chase your dreams. Do not let me discourage you from chasing your dreams, but I want you to do it in a healthy way, okay? And lastly, but certainly not least, please don't make people feel bad for not hustling the same way that you are. Just because I work from home and I live with my family and I don't have like a high stress job, that doesn't mean that I'm not accomplishing anything. That doesn't mean that I'm not making steps to accomplishing my goals. It doesn't mean that I'm any less than you are. I love that you have this high paying consultant job that stresses you out every week, but allows you to travel and you've like started losing hair. That's awesome. Well, not obviously not the bad parts that I just mentioned, but I love that you're making 6 figures, that you're doing something that you really wanted, that you're traveling. But just because I'm not doing that, please don't make me feel bad. Maybe I'll get there one day if that's what I want to do. But please remember that your journey is different from my journey. My journey is different from your journey, and let's try not to compare and make other people feel bad. That was actually a huge relief for me just doing this episode. I feel like I got like a weight off of my shoulders. Like, I think I'm ready to crawl in my bed and read a book for the rest of the night. I can't. I actually have to wash my hair. Hustling. But I really, really enjoyed talking to you guys about this. Please, if you have any feedback, any comments, any questions, feel free to DM me on my personal Instagram or the Instagram for the podcast. I'll have everything in the show description episode thing. But like, if you want to talk about it, like, let's talk about this. If you think I said something that offended you, please let me know. Because I would love to chat about it. I did not mean to offend anyone. I just want people to take breaks. I don't want anyone to experience burnout. Okay. I want you to achieve your dreams, but please, please take breaks. But yeah, that's all I have for you all in this very first episode of Graduate and Grow in Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next week, we're coming back with it. Ooh, we're coming back with a guest episode, and I promise you, it's so, so good. I think you are going to need a notepad for what we talk about. Well, maybe not a notepad, but I think you will definitely enjoy. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and or a review. I would really appreciate it. That not only does it help me understand what you guys like about the podcast, but I also think that will help push the podcast out to the masses because we want to grow this community. If you aren't already, please follow the Instagram and YouTube, Graduated and Grown. And again, stay tuned for next week's episode. It's going to be so, so good. And if you have a friend or family member or peer that's currently stressed out from hustle culture, send them this episode. Like, hopefully this episode will help somebody realize that hustle culture can be so toxic. And hopefully this will help them, to loosen the straps on themselves and to live life. Because we are in our 20s and we need to be enjoying this period as much as we can, even though there's going to be mistakes and mess ups and bad times and just struggles. We still need to enjoy this period of life that we're in because the 20s, it's our defining decade. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it. But all right, y'all, I'm talking too much. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I appreciate you all, and I will talk to y'all with my guest next week.